I've always suspected that there is a conspiracy about all this, It's to, and that they want to show that Bongbong Marcos is innocent and is not involved in all this. I have my doubts because if you notice in this SONA 2024, he talked about many things, but he did not talk of corruption. Then, his first executive order, number one, was to abolish the anti-corruption commission in the office of the president. So all these are telling me that he's doing nothing and doesn't want to do anything about corruption. Why? Well, and I think the answer is obvious. When you do not do anything about corruption, you are an accomplice to corruption. It's as simple as that. It's common sense. Our Congress is full of corrupt people. There are a few good ones like Rodante Marcoleta, but they're so few. And when the others are quiet, the other congressmen are quiet and don't talk about corruption, it's because they're accomplices to corruption. When it's like Rodante Marcoleta. He's the one who speaks out openly and truthfully about things. That is a man I can trust. But when your congressmen, they know what's going on inside the Congress and they keep quiet, that means they're all part of it, okay? It's as simple as that. It's common sense. For example, you take the Catholic Church. I had an exchange on social media with Cardinal David. And I told him, why is the Catholic Church silent on corruption and immorality? That's not politics, I said. That is within your domain, your spiritual domain. Why are you quiet? I don't understand it. The only thing I can think of is that maybe they've been captured by Satan, which I know that they will never print anywhere or tell anyone. A lot of people in this country are very angry. And that number keeps growing and growing. And if you took an honest survey of the popularity of Bongbong Marcos, he would be down to 10% rating. I'm willing to take a bet on it.
Opo.
Yes, I'm listening.
Opo. Sir, ano po ang pakiwari ninyo doon sa mga naging tinuran ng veteranong congressman na si Congressman Isidro Ungab hinggil po doon sa 2025 national budget? Hindi lang po siya ang nag-ingay, si Senator Bato rin po na pumuna at ilan pa pong mga ekonomista ay pumuna po sa kinahinatnan ng 2025 budget na mas malaki ayon sa mga nagkomento ang budget sa infra kaysa sa budget sector.
Well, it does to me, given the corruption that we had regarding those 5,500 flood control projects, of which nobody was held accountable, and which obviously, there was a lot of corruption involved, because I saw some of the videos of the dikes. They didn't even have steel bars in them. And so they collapsed. Now, it doesn't make sense to me that DPWH should be given more money before investigating what happened in the past. We spent, I think, $1.3 trillion on those flood control projects. And they turned out to be totally ineffective. They turned Metro Manila and adjoining provinces into a big swimming pool. And that by itself should indicate, that there was something wrong with the way those flood control projects were done. And the first thing one would do, naturally, if one was a president, was to find out who is accountable for it. Because as Senator Amy Marcos herself asked, where did the money go? And everybody's asking the same thing. Now, all of a sudden, you are increasing the budget of the same department without first investigating what happened to the past projects. To me, it's, you do not reward a department that has been, that has not careful and has not done its work properly. You don't do that. I mean, one must be crazy to do it.
Opo.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Paparating na po ang 2025 midterm elections at alam po natin, sir, ang politika natin, kahit hindi man sa Pilipinas, worldwide, ay cycle, paulit-ulit po. Pero iba po ang panahon ngayon, Sir Jose, kung ikukumpara po ninyo sa Marcos Jr. administration. Kung ating mapapansin, mas malapit po ang administrasyon na ito, Marcos Jr. sa mga kano. And mas matindi po ang mga ingay sa issue ng korupsyon compared po doon sa naging administration ni former President Rodrigo Duterte. Meron po ba kayo nakakita dito, sir, na koneksyon sa mas matindi na pagyakap ng Marcos administration sa mga Amerikano kaya may mga issue ganito ng korupsyon?
Well, the proof is, as I've been saying all along, unless you address the problem of corruption in the Philippines, you won't get very much foreign investments. As a matter of fact, the foreign investments we got in 223, 224 is measly compared to what has gone to our ASEAN neighbors, like Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam. And that by itself is an indication that our foreign investors don't want to invest in the Philippines because of the corruption. And I said this was the main problem that Bongbong Marcos is having. That's why foreign investors are not coming in, because he has not addressed the problem of corruption.
Opo, at marami rin po sa mga ekonomista nagkukomento, mukhang talagang totoo yung mga, kasi siyempre, Sir Jose, nung nakarang eleksyon, na didinig po natin yung mga salitang mahina, weak leader. Mukhang ngayon nagmamanifest na ayon sa mga ekonomista nagsasalita na maaari namang may gawin ang Pangulo dito sa issue po ng budget, national budget. Pero ngayon, mukhang wala siyang say sa mga nangyayari. Sir Jose, ano pong sapantahan nyo doon, sir?
Look, I've always suspected that there is a conspiracy about all this, It's to, and that they want to show that Bongbong Marcos is innocent and is not involved in all this. I have my doubts because if you notice in this SONA 2024, he talked about many things, but he did not talk of corruption. Then, his first executive order, number one, was to abolish the anti-corruption commission in the office of the president. So all these are telling me that he's doing nothing and doesn't want to do anything about corruption. Why? Well, I think the answer is obvious. When you do not do anything about corruption, you are an accomplice to corruption. It's as simple as that. It's common sense.
Opo, sa iyo pong experience, sir, sa pamamahala, being a former presidential consultant, may nasasabi ba, sir, itong mga Amerikano hinggil dito sa estado ng ating pamumulitika sa Pilipinas? I mean, may nababanggit po ba sila na, kayo mga Pilipino, madali lang kayo bilhin. Basta ang usapin ay pera.
Well, just before the February 1986 revolt, the CIA chief was talking to me. And he said, Filipinos are easy to handle. He said, everyone is for sale. Your politicians, your journalists. He said, the only question is the price. It hasn't changed. We can see that among our congressmen, they're obviously, immorally corrupt. The way they handle things, the way they conduct their hearings. I mean, one doesn't have to be a genius to find out that there is absolutely something wrong in our Congress. And then what do we have? We have a lot of people there who have been convicted of crimes, and there they are pretending to be saints. So, you know, we have, I think it was, what was it? One magazine, I forgot the name, that called the House of Representatives as the biggest den of thieves. I think it was the BizAsia or something like that. Okay, I don't remember. This was some time ago. And obviously, our Congress is full of corrupt people. There are a few good ones like Rodante Marcoleta, but they're so few. And when the others are quiet, the other congressmen are quiet and don't talk about corruption, it's because there are accomplices to corruption. When you know, it's like Rodante Marcoleta. He's the one who speaks out openly and truthfully about things. That is a man I can trust. But when your congressmen, they know what's going on inside the Congress and they keep quiet, that means they're all part of it. Okay? It's as simple as that. It's common sense.
Sir, bago lang si Partner Admar, ano sa tingin niyo, sir, nakikita ninyo sa electorate, Filipino electorate, ngayon pong laganap ng issue ng korupsyon? Sa ibang mga bansa, kaunting issue lang, sir, ng korupsyon, pinagre-resign nila yung mga leader eh. Pero ngayon, matindi na ang mga nangyayari, parang tayo mga Pilipino walang kibo, parang tolerant tayo sa mga nangyayari sa pamamahala.
Well, you know, I tell you that if the Filipinos do not do anything about corruption, God's wrath will fall on us because God cannot stand corruption. All right? And I'm telling my fellow Filipinos, my countrymen, you either do something about corruption, or if the wrath of God will fall on your head, you only have yourself to blame because you kept quiet. That's what I would tell all my audience. I said, you know what's going on in your country, and yet you keep quiet? For example, you take the Catholic Church. I had an exchange on social media with Cardinal David. And I told him, why is the Catholic Church silent on corruption and immorality? That's not politics, I said. That is within your domain, your spiritual domain. Why are you quiet? I don't understand it. The only thing I can think of is that maybe they're being captured by Satan.
Sir Jose, magandang gabi po. Si Admar po ito. Ano naman po ang masasabi niyo dito sa panibagong revamp na naman po, pagbabago sa hanay po ng National Security Council or NSC, kung saan yung Vice Presidente at yung mga dating Pangulo ay hindi na po kabilang dito sa magiging bahagi o bubuo dito sa NSC po na ito. Para sa kaalaman ng lahat, ito pong NSC nabuo during Elpidio Quirino nung siya po'y Pangulo at kasama po yung Vice Presidente doon sa pinaka-original Executive Order number 330. At kung di ako nagkakamali, sa panahon ni dating Pangulong FVR Ramos ay naisali dito yung mga dating mga presidente. Pero sa ngayon po na administrasyon, wala na po sa hanay ang Vice Presidente at yung mga dating Pangulo.
You know, Almar, the idea of the National Security Council is to have your top officials there who will give you divergent views, because nobody has a monopoly on wisdom. We have so many problems, and so, you know, everybody should be able to give their views, no matter whether, you know, they came from different political parties. And I think it's a very big mistake for Bongbong that and take out, you know, indaysara and digong just because it's for political reason. So what will he end up having? He's going to end up having only people in his government who are all afraid to talk and speak out. And that's what he wants because, you know, that's how you silence and you're able to rule this country when nobody talks against you. And I think that's a very big mistake he's making. Because if I were in the president's place, I should be happy to have, you know, people from different spectrums, past presidents, you know, present there, and other past leaders whom you think are worthy of giving, you know, sensible ideas in the National Security Council, because that is the purpose of national. And besides, why do you take out Digong, President Duterte, and Indaysara? Why you consider them a national threat? That's ridiculous. Everybody will laugh at that. You know, a national threat? And that was the justification for it. They said, you know, we have to look at our national security. Why? Just because somebody doesn't agree with you, you think that person is a national threat? You must be really stupid to think that way. And that's the problem of this government. It doesn't think. It stopped thinking a long time ago.
Opo, and para sa kalaman ng lahat, gaano po kahalaga itong NSC, yung pag-convene po nito every time na kailangan o regular na pag-convene ito? Kasi balita po natin parang hindi pa yata nag-convene ito ng buo talaga kasama mismo or yung nanguna ang Pangulo, kung meron po ba kayong mga narinig. Kasi sa panig po ni Vice President Indaysara, bago siya tinanggal dito, kabilang ito sa binagyan niya ng emphasis, no, na never siya na naka-attend ng pagpupulong dyan sa NSC. Kinesyon pa nga niya ito during sa assessment sa kanya na walang security threat sa kanya, kaya nga humihingi siya ng minutes, sino yung mga pumirma doon sa minutes, bakit nakapagpalabas ng pahayag ang NSC, na ni minsan ay hindi pa siya nakadalo sa anumang meeting simula nang umupo siya bilang pangalawang Pangulo.
You know, all this is window dressing, okay? It's just for propaganda. I mean, for them to show that they're doing something. Because the truth of the matter is that they do not want to hear divergent views, which is the idea of having a National Security Council, to talk about the issues really concerning the nation. That is the idea of a National Security Council. Because these issues that we have, sooner or later, will pose a problem of national security. Okay? So what do? You just want to show you're doing something when you're not doing anything. So what, you reorganize it? And how do you reorganize it? In the most stupid way. You get rid of those who have divergent views, and you only put what? People there who are scared to tell you the truth? What kind of a president are you? You must be really stupid to do that. No president in his right mind who's sincere about solving the problems of the nation would do such a thing.
Opo. And sa mga pangyayari pong ito, dapat po ba itong ikabahala ng taong bayan? Kasi parang nabibigyan lang ng emphasis dito yung away po sa politika at hindi mismo yung malapit sa bituka ng taong bayan, which is patuloy na pagmahal ng mga bilihin, yung kahirapan, andyan pa rin po at tila wala silang, kung pagbabatayan natin yung mga pagtatanong at mga surveys po, ganyan po yung resulta po, Ginoong Jose.
You know, I don't go by these surveys because a lot of those surveys are paid surveys, you know, to show that they're doing something, and all this is ridiculous. I go by common sense. I go and talk to people outside. I talk to people in the market. I talk to people in the groceries. I talk to, tricycle drivers. And I ask them, what do you think? And I'm going to tell you something, okay, which I know that they will never print anywhere or tell anyone. A lot of in this country are very angry. And that number keeps growing and growing. And if you took an honest survey of the popularity of Bongbong Marcos, he would be down to 10% rating. I'm willing to take a bet on it.
Sir, huling topic na lamang po. Ngayon pong si MJ po ulit ito. Sir, malapit ng inauguration ni US President Donald Trump ulit as the US President. Meron ba kayong nakikitang maaring pagbabago sa political landscape, sa geopolitics natin, ng mga bagay-bagay?
Yes, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of changes. Okay, I myself have made suggestions to President Trump. I mean, I send him a lot of suggestions and even recommendations, and he has adopted quite a number of them. Okay, so because he knows I'm not a politician and he's not a politician, he prefers to hear from people who are not politicians. So I tell him exactly what I think, and he listens. And I told him, you know what has gone wrong in all this throughout the world? Why are you having millions of illegal immigrants going across to the United States and millions others to Europe? I'll tell you what the reason is. Because they have no opportunities in their country, and so they are obliged to move to another country, and they look to the United States and to Europe. And you know why I said there is no development in their country? Because there is corruption. These are corrupt regimes. I said the same thing is happening in the Philippines. We have 350,000 undocumented Filipinos in the United States. Why? Because those poor souls saw no opportunity here in the Philippines, and so they went to the United States. That is the source of illegal immigration in the United States and in Europe. And it's the source of immigration from our country to other countries, because this country has done nothing. These governments have done nothing for the people because of a lot of corruption. And I told Donald Trump, I told him, Don, I said, you know, if you don't take a stand on corruption in developing countries, you will continue to have these problems of illegal immigrants. Because the solution is to stop illegal immigration is you make sure that there are no corruptions in their countries of origin, so that they develop, they have jobs there, they have opportunities. I said, this is common sense. And you know, he agreed with me. And you'll see what's going to happen. I told him, you know, you can stop it because you can do it through executive order. You can impose sanctions on corrupt countries. You can ban the corrupt officials from those countries from entering the United States. You can even seize their assets. Biden did it to the Russian oligarchs. Okay, and then I said, just seize their assets and return them to the country once they have an honest government. Return their assets, seize them. I said, there are solutions, and I've given him a number of solutions. Well, we'll see what's going to happen.
Opo, sir, issues sa West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, nakikita po ba ninyo na may mga pagbabagong magaganap?
I've also given him a 4-point program on it, and he's looking at it. And I told him, if you agree with it, please negotiate it directly with Jinping. And I suspect this is the reason why I invited Jinping to go to Washington for his inaugural, because he wanted to talk to him. And he said, I do not consider China as an enemy. That was very good that he said that. That means that he thinks he can come to an agreement with Jinping, including over the West Philippine Sea. I've given him the solution. He's looking at it. I'm not going to give the details out here because I want Trump to be the one to negotiate it directly with Jinping. And I think Jinping will accept. I have a funny feeling Jinping will like the proposals. And then that's the way we can solve this problem in the West Philippine Sea.